What do I want? It's a question that everyone eventually has to ask themselves. The key motivator for every action taken. The cause behind every effect. So, what do I want? I want to go to a sporting event in every major venue. I want to grow within my relationships with my friends and my family. I want the freedom to create without the fear of failure. I want to dream without being hindered by reality. I want to chase new passions, new experiences, and new goals. I want OldMilk to branch out of the box and try new things. I'm accomplishing some of these goals right now, and I know what I need to do to achieve the rest of them. However, the one thing you should take away from this commercial is, I want you to buy OldMilk merch.
Point of a series is to show you who the better team is. So while I understood what he was saying, I was like, it's a tough look.
Yeah.
Especially, and it wasn't like one of the top guys saying it.
No,
and obviously he's an important piece, but if
he was
Tatum
riding
or
high
Brown,
off of that clutch performance that he had.
Right. If Tatum or Brown, who they can take ownership of the mistakes, they're like, we were probably more talented, but we messed up. Like Grant talking about it, it's like, all right, dude, like worry about getting your extension.
Someone yesterday was trying to tell me that Steph Curry had. There's a little bit of an argument going around that Steph Curry had no help, and which is insane to me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like Clay was fine. Like he didn't have his like monster game, but Wiggins was amazing.
Wiggins is an all-star. Looney showed up. Jordan Poole was hit or miss, but when he was on, he was on.
Yeah, honestly, Wiggins all-star starter, first pick in his draft on a huge contract, and people like he was in Minnesota. Of course, he was trash. Like he was
it's the ssame thing as DeMarcus Cousins in Sacramento. No matter what he does, you're not going to be good as a team.
Like he didn't play great in Minnesota, and there's reason to be like, oh, Wiggins it didn't pan out, but people were acting like he's a legit scrub. And I was like, he just started the All-Star game, and yeah, it's fan voting or whatever, but people weren't voting for him for the hell of it.
Yeah, like he was legitimately one of the best defenders in the league all season.
Yeah, I mean, he turned Tatum into a very mediocre player for almost the whole series.
And Tatum being tired.
Yes. But I've talked about that enough.
Yes. All right. This is the Cat Podcast. This is episode 313. That is Taylor McLeod in another hat. That's a championship Boston Red Sox hat. At least that's what I'm going with. I am Nate Sperling. This is your weekly tour through hip hop. Thank you for watching on YouTube and listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and more. Do us a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at OldMilk Media. Check out the OldMilk Spins playlist on Spotify and YouTube. And check out all the OldMilk content on oldmilk.co. That being said, Taylor, once again, it's been we have to stop doing this because we talk and then we don't talk for like mad long. And it's like,
I know.
I need a life update. So can you update me on how you're doing?
Yeah. First of all, it's a UCLA Bruins hat. The Red Sox, okay. We're not even going to talk about them as champions. It wasn't that long ago when they actually were, but right now it's not looking good. Life is fine. It's we talked about it earlier. It's way cooler out here than it is on the East Coast or really anywhere else in the country in terms of actual temperature. Not like, oh, yo, it's so cool out here. Yeah, coming back to the East Coast in a couple of weeks. So just excited about all the music coming out. Excited that 2022 has really given us a ton of music from pretty much every artist you could ask for. I mean, the only two that I'd really be like clamoring for right now, and it's not even really clamoring for, the only one, honestly, like I would love a Frank project, but we're not going to get it. And I was going to say, I wouldn't really clamor for this either, but like Cole came out it seems like everyone's dropped this year, and it's only because J. Cole just dropped last year.
Yeah.
But
I'm paying attention to what happens in terms of releases for Moneybagg Yo, Lil Tecca, Lil TJ, Lil Baby was supposed to drop this month. It doesn't look like he's going to because Beyonce is going to drop next week, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Who else? Yeah, I think that's off the top of my head. Those are the artists that I'm looking forward to, that I'm paying attention to. But that being said, we have an album to talk about. We have Mozzy's Survivor's Guilt, 15 tracks, 43 minutes long, featuring EST Gee, Shorty Shorty, YG, Blast, 42 Doug, Yo Gotti, Black Youngsta, Selly Rue, E Mozzy, 2 Chains, Sweetie, and Roddy Rich. Taylor, what did you think about Mozzy's latest effort?
I think it's a good project. It wasn't my favorite project of the year. It didn't necessarily, where the other two projects we talked about today really, really did something for me in terms of I could latch onto one thing that really stood out. I don't think that anything on this project necessarily stands out in terms of why this project means something different than other projects. But that being said, I mean, I think, and you can expect this from Mozzy, I think you're going to have good beat selection that matches what he's supposed to be doing. You're going to have beat selection that matches him being from California. They're not the most LA beats, but it's because he's not from LA. I think that it's what you can expect from a Mozzy record, but it's not like it was a groundbreaking project in my eyes.
I agree. I think that it's solid. There are things that I like about it. There are things that I don't like about it. The things that I like about it are the beat selection. I think that this is a project that could serve as the start of what Yo Gotti and CMG have coming for us. Understanding that with that label, you have Yo Gotti, Black Youngsta, who are from the South. You have Mozzy, who's from the West Coast. You have 42 Doug, who's from Detroit. What is that blend of sounds? What does that sound like? The blend of, to make it seem more, to make what I just said sound more elegant. What does that blend of sonics sound like? And I think that we got some of that here. On Tell the Truth, I think that there's a mix of Detroit sound. There's also a mix of Cali sound as well, and that meshes together. That's also something that we saw a little bit on the album that came out last week from CMG, the whole compilation album. I think it was 27 tracks that I really enjoyed. A lot of them. So I think that this sets up what we should expect from other CMG artists in terms of sonics. The one thing that I'll point out that I'm not a fan of on this project is Mozzy's hooks. The overlapping of voices of Mozzy's voice on hooks just doesn't do it for me. It kind of turns me off to some songs. What do you think about that, Taylor?
I think it's a way that a lot of artists use to do hooks. I think we just talked about it with the Joey record, where it can be done in very elegant ways, and it can be done in very, I wouldn't say bad or rudimentary or anything like that. I think very standard, where it's just 2 vocal tracks, or however many. It's just those, and it's not really for an effect other than to layer those vocals. Like there isn't like an inflection or a pitch up or a pitch down. It's literally just his voice twice. So there's an echo to it, and it gives it a little bit of depth. But outside of that, I don't know if it's really necessary. I think that his voice is like, while I wouldn't call him a singer necessarily, I think his voice is good enough to carry hooks without that. So it's an interesting choice. I just think it's real standard. I don't think there's anything special about it. And I think when you think about it and when you really hear it and you listen to it, you're like, I can understand why you said like it like will turn you off from songs. It's just, I guess it doesn't really do anything to add, so it kind of creates a little bit of clutter.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. The clutter of it. I think perhaps some more melodic features would have helped out, because the verses are good. There are really good verses on this entire project, but it's the hook is the part where you're supposed to sell me, like take my money, and the my money is still in my pocket most of the time. But that being said, it's still a really good album. Another thing that I do want to say is I think towards the end the track listing could have been better. As I pull it up now on my screen as I okay, where is Mozzy? Um he sandwiches the one of his singles in my face between Open Arms and Real Ones, and I think that Open Arms and Real Ones are two of the better tracks on the album because of the there's a certain level of elegance on that isn't present on many other songs throughout the album, and putting a big hit there that one doesn't fit in terms of sonics, and two, um it just throws the track listing off. I don't know if you'd put that song in my face if you put it at the end or you try to fit it in somewhere in the beginning, but I felt like that kind of stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, I think it's a way, and I mean, people our age and older might work on us because we're, I feel like it's a way to get you to listen to the whole project,
Mhm.
being like, all right, I know that song's back there, so like let me listen to everything, let me get that build up. But at the same time, if that is the one, like if that's the one that's supposed to carry this, it doesn't really matter where it is. And I think that that's obviously a song that has purposes that aren't necessarily to build up this album. I can appreciate it that it's three California rappers all kind of showing you like the difference in their style, but also the similarities in their approach. Where I think Mozzy is the closest to like the traditional sense of like staying on the beat, like moving in and out of the intricacies of a beat. Where YG and Saweetie are definitely more apt to go off, similar to like Draco.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Where it's their own thing. I'm not saying that like they're the same or anything, but it's it's just a stylistic thing that I noticed. But it does kind of stick out there, especially because Open Arms and the final track with Roddy Rich are two of the better songs to me on this album, and would be a really good way to wind down and wrap up an album that is otherwise underwhelming. I feel like it's such a like a gentle word, but it's also like it does carry a ton of weight. But to for lack of a better word, to carry a mediocre, solid at best album, that would have been a really nice way to wrap it up, and maybe gives you a little bit more of an access point to go back to the beginning and be like, all right, let me really figure this out. Let me put my pieces together to make this the album it's supposed to be. I don't know if you know what I mean, but
Yeah.
where like sometimes an album closes and it closes in a profound way, and you're like, all right, let me go back to the beginning
Let
and
me
find the
re-examine.
hidden right, find the hidden stuff, or maybe the stuff that's not hidden, but it's just a couple layers deep. And when the 14th track is the hit track, it kind of it kind of changes that.
Mhm. I want to talk about Lurkin featuring EST Gee. I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were talking about EST Gee, and I was talking about how he was an artist that I listened to, but I wasn't really particularly impressed by. But ever since I said that, he's just done impressive shit to me in terms
Yeah,
of being on the CMG album, and now his feature on Lurkin, going back and forth with Mozzy. That chemistry was really nice to listen to. The presence that EST Gee has when he's he's on, and that presence really can carry a song. What did you think about Lurkin?
I think Lurkin's good. It's probably my favorite song on the album, honestly, except maybe Open Arms or For Life. Um, I think what ESTG does great, and it's similar to, you and I talked about this on text, similar to 21 Savage in the sense where no matter what song he's on, it feels like he sets the tone, where he is pulling the other rappers to where he's at, as
Mhm.
opposed to hopping on a Mozzy song and just kind of like following Mozzy's lead. I mean, just with him starting the song as the first, like he starts off with like kind of a more spoken intro, and then the beat comes in while he's in the middle of like doing this, just like not acapella because there's a little bit in the background, but it's like a
Mhm.
real bare bones stuff, and then it comes in. So I think that he is just great at. I think he's great at setting the tone, and you hear him on stuff with Dirk and 42 Doug and Moneybag Yo, and he sets the tone.
Yeah.
And he takes these guys right to where they probably are at their best in that certain style where it's like real aggressive. And I like to use the word scary. And it like where 21 Savage is scary and you believe everything he says, right?
Mhm.
Like other people rap about the same stuff. Everyone raps about similar stuff. But there's certain way that like it sounds like EST Gee's just like sitting across the table from you, just like telling you step by step what he's gonna do, how he's gonna do it, and the fact that there's nothing you can do to stop him.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part about him. And I think he really brings a lot. Whoever he's on the track with, he brings everyone else to that table. And it's a very like, it's not so much like, oh, like, you know, check this out, check this out. It's like, no, here's what's going to happen.
No,
Like,
I agree. I'm interested to see what comes out of his next project, whenever that is. I don't know if we're gonna get one this year because he just dropped, like, he was on the CMG album, obviously, and he had that collab album with 42 Doug. But whatever comes next, I hope it's something that I can really latch onto and be like, I see, like, I'm a fan of EST Gee. Like, right now I'm more so like, I like him on a feature. I don't mind listening to him, but I think that there's a level that I could reach in terms of my appreciation for him that I want to reach, but I'm just not there yet.
yeah. I wouldn't say that I'm the biggest EST Gee fan in the world. It's just when I see his name on a track list at this point, I'm gonna listen to it. Like I'm not gonna skip it. I'm not gonna, because I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
I want to see where he's at. Like he's just a really intriguing rapper to me, in the sense that his rap career is still pretty young.
It is.
And it's cool. It's cool nowadays to see a rapper kind of like climbing through the rungs of like, all right, I'm featured on this artist. Now I'm featured over here. Here's my project, a couple more features, collab tape, deluxe from that last project. And really to see an artist climb the ladder. And it's not just like EST Gee did a song that has a TikTok sound and now he's the biggest rapper. You know what I mean? It's like we're really getting to see like the growth of a rapper in real time, which is rare these days.
Yeah. The last time I was able to plot like at least to a level that was significant, that is clear to almost everybody who watched it, was 21 Savage when he first came out with Savage Mode, and then watching him get to that level of where he is now. I think actually, now that you're making that argument, I think that I'm seeing the similarities between 21 Savage in 2016 and EST Gee now more. So hopefully it turns out the same way for EST Gee like it did 21 Savage. But overall, Mozzy's Survivor's Guilt is a solid album. I enjoyed listening to it. I think it's one of those albums that you take your favorite songs and you go. But I do think that it's a good album. It's a good effort. Yeah, that's my final verdict on it.
Yeah, I feel similarly. Like, I wouldn't call myself the biggest Mozzy fan in the world. I really respect him as a rapper, though, and I respect it's similar to the conversations we've had with Griselda, where these guys break onto the scene later. Like, it's not like Mozzy broke onto the scene when he was 20 years old. Like, he's 35 right now, so you're getting a little bit different perspective, and it's like it's not so much about like revenge or anything like that. It's more like dealing with the emotional parts of his life and just where the music comes from. And that's why on this record specifically, I don't like, besides Lurking, honestly, I like the songs that are more laid back, where the instrumental is a little less in your face and you're really hearing him just talk about the stuff. Because similar to like a Nipsey Hussle, I want to just hear him talk. I really like respect like the wisdom he brings to these raps. And it's not so much, I'm not looking for like the next hottest song from Mozzy. I'm looking to hear something.
Yeah.
So I think when he achieves that on this album, it's really good. And it's not like I don't think the other tracks are good. And I may have been a little harsh saying underwhelming, because it's something you really have to like sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to listen to this album and let me get all the meaning from it. It's not something that you can play casually and be like, all right, this and that and this and that. Like even the Joey, like it sounds good enough where you could like run it in the background or something, and it's not gonna, you're still gonna enjoy it. With this, I feel like it can get lost unless you're really, really paying attention.
Yeah, I agree. What are your favorite tracks?
My favorite tracks, let me grab this. Lurkin for life, open arms, and not the same.
I got Lurkin, Wouldn't Be Us, Make the News, Ain't Really Real, Open Arms, and Real Ones.
Yeah.
All right. This has been The Cap, episode 313. That is Taylor McLeod. I am Nate Sperlin. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Old Milk Media. Check out the Old Milk Spins playlist on Spotify and YouTube. And check out all the Old Milk content on oldmilk.co. We will be back when hip hop tells us to be, which I think Nab's dropping next week too. We'll see. We'll see if hip hop.
We'll see if eighth and a leader.
We'll see if Nab tells us to make a podcast. But we'll be back when hip hop tells us to be. Thank you for watching, and we are out.